Hello, my name is Kyron Patterson King. I am a rapper. I am a singer-songwriter. Sorry, I shouldn't be. I don't really want to like. Okay, I'm not trying to brag. Sorry. Anyways, I have a previous lecture series that I was trying to make into something interesting. It was called Rants with KPK, and honestly, it wasn't like. I'm sorry. I just woke up. Look at my hair. I haven't showered yet. No, I have not dressed. I sleep in this sweater and then I wear it everywhere. Okay, anyways, so I started a new sort of lecture series, where I'm trying to get like kind of a grassroots, question and answer session going. So basically what I'm doing is getting friends to ask me questions, or eventually, hopefully, I get like a fan base that'll grow out of this, and I'll get people from across the world asking me questions of a similar nature. And the way I described it was that I'm working on a new YouTube project in which you and others will help me fine tune and create new facets of ideology, belief, and perspective. This will be a YouTube project far removed from my previous conglomeration of stuff, and I'm looking for people to ask questions of social, spiritual, intellectual, ideological, or transcendent importance. So please ask away and ignite my dynamite brain. Alright, so the first question, and I had to ask somebody for it. Hopefully at some point people won't be just like, I won't have to ask, like, get it out of people. But the first question is why or how people create ideologies, like in a general sense, especially me, myself. And I guess the best way to introduce this would be that I have made somewhat of a loose ideology, sort of like a very loose sweater, right? You wear it to look cute, I guess. No, you wear it, yeah, because it's kind of stylish. You don't really want something that's constricting. You can move around in it. You can hide your hands if you feel like it, because you don't really feel like, having them basically exposed to the wind. So, I mean, that's a weird analogy to use in terms of my ideology, but it's like an ideology. It's called anarcho-tantric hedonism, and it's still very much a work in progress, and I hope it will be a work in progress forever. I do not want it to be a blueprint for some post-apocalyptic new world created from the ground up, and to think that it is a terrible idea. It is literally just ideas on how to get us to the point where we can all democratically, in like the most grassroots sense, democratically decide what we're going to do with the world as is, because it's not working right now, and we're in a very backwards place. And that's not to say that a world after the fact, after revolution, would be perfect, because everybody says like, oh, okay, so like as soon as something goes wrong, there's a revolution, and then everybody just fucking starts. They start like insulting the whole revolutionary strata of society and calling them failures because nothing is perfect yet. It's not a utopia. Now, wake up call is capitalism is also at one point just a utopian ideology, and again, like anything else, it's failed, right? And honestly, like my belief is that a world cannot be completely changed. A perfect world is not possible, not at all. A better world is, but it's like the furniture in a living room, right? When you have a revolution, you're just reorganizing the furniture, throwing out old stuff, getting new stuff. And it's a weird analogy, I know, but that's how I think of it. You're literally only rearranging the furniture. And the problem will always remain, because the problem is just that people do bad things, and people make mistakes, and people don't mean to be cruel, and people are, right? Like, there will be rape in another new world. There will be robbery. There will be crime. There will be death. There will be disease. I mean, there'll be plenty of other great things too, and the better world is possible. This is not the best. Like the world, the society we live in, is not best. Like utilizing everything within our ability to do to make a better world. Instead, it's using it for very twisted ends, like supporting a whole very disgusting hierarchical structure and feeding the top while starving the bottom, right? And now one way you can maximize human success and human productivity and human happiness in this context would be to crush the whole hierarchy and start from the bottom up, and not let it just kind of hang down from the top, right? Because that's not an effective way to rule or govern anybody. There shouldn't be any kind of any kind of system like that is bound to be exploitative. Now, that's not to say that in the wake of the revolution, there wouldn't be redeveloping ideologies and like societies that were exploitative and very like by their a very eventual nature, like eventual nature, inevitable maybe not, but eventual, because I'm pretty sure there's like Terence McKenna talks about the difference between the old tribal societies, which lived in like more of a feminine culture. He makes the argument that they were supplementing their diets with like psilocybin mushrooms and like other psychoactive drugs, and that's what let them be so open with each other, like sexually, spiritually, and they weren't gender based at all. So it was a complete equal society, like an ideal communistic society. Now, when people say communistic nowadays, you have to realize that the communism it's like that's going to conjure up is the idea of the Soviet Union and the former Yugoslavia, which was more successful than most of them, but it wasn't perfect either. Most capital or most communism up to this point has been state capitalism. It hasn't been communism at all, because communism I don't think has actually seen success ever. Like it's seen some moderate amounts of some. It looks better than the previous idea and the previous manifestation of this, but it hasn't seen full success, and that's very clear. So the actual communism existed prior to Marx ever writing down communism. So I'm just using the dictionary in my brain, which calls those kinds of societies communistic, which harks forward to Marx as opposed to just what it was. They had no name for it at the time. It was a very egalitarian society, shared with everybody. Everybody did their part, etc., etc., and they had a lot of leisure time. Anyways, these were the equal societies, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, we ran out of psychoactives to supplement our diets with, and I don't know about this theory. It definitely could be true, and I'm not one to say it isn't, but the thing is, we ran out of these psychoactive things, or we just started slowly being encroached upon by other societies, which he calls dominator cultures, which is what we're living in now, right? Hence why the feminine is being so repressed, and we have to have movements like feminism to make it clear that women are real people and deserve equal rights, which feels like it should be just common sense, but frankly it wasn't, and it's because we're still living in a patriarchal society, which really represses the feminine, and all feminism really does now is basically allow, it's like women want the same rights as men, and that's what they should get. But at the same time, like what they're wanting and what they're getting is still like the patriarchal twist on that. Like our society is just co-opting them into becoming men. So they suppress their feminine side as well. Yes, we've got makeup. That's still suppressing the feminine side unless you're a very special kind of person who's done the loop and said, look, I don't need makeup. I don't care what other people think I look like without it. I'm not going to wear makeup, right? But it's like then it's an art. Then they're doing it for artistic purposes. For the same reason I wear like a floral patterned sweater and like red pants or something. It's totally just having fun with my ego and appearance, right? And like I don't mind going in like blue jeans and stuff. I really don't, and I can do that pretty easily. But like it's weird because makeup as is has been described to me by a few, like for example, a couple ex-girlfriends described to me like why they wore makeup. I was always kind of like pushy with it. I always said like don't wear makeup, you don't need makeup, you look beautiful today, right? Etc. The whole Bruno Mars thing, whatever. They really didn't. They looked great without makeup. But the thing is, apparently, according to one ex-girlfriend, there is sort of like this subconscious, subtle, like observation going on between women. Now, maybe it's just the women she hung out with. I have no idea, but and I'm sure it was. I'm sure some women don't do this. I'm sure maybe most of them don't. But there's some. Maybe it was just in her head. I have no idea. But she said how girls judge each other on how much time they put into their makeup. Like it's just like a value judgment that's made on a dime in most social situations. Now, I don't like if that's the case. And some girls are going to hang out with like people and have that on a dime judgment and not even recognize that's what they're doing or recognize that that's what they're a part of. So if I was to bring this up with them, they would not say they do that. They would not admit it because it's just completely unconscious to them. Other girls, they've got the consciousness of it, but they keep doing it due to the insecurity, right? Like, and it's a weird paradigm to be living under, but that is what feminism is still kind of at the whim of. And like actually guys have some of the similar problems too. We have the whole masculine side, but that thing's so weak. A guy can act feminine anytime he wants and get away with it and not be marginalized for it. They're accepted as like just awesome and hilarious, right? Like, and that's weird because the women still have to struggle with like if they act like a boy, it's just kind of it's hard to explain, but the whole cultural paradigm is that feminism is just making like the women allow themselves to repress feminism themselves. to a certain degree, not entirely. Like it just gives them like a right to, in like within the masculine worldview, and I feel like what feminism could be a bit more spiritual in that context, and open up the world to the actual feminine, yeah, the way of seeing things in a feminine context, and really liberating not just other women's feminism, but like male like feminism, and it's working. I mean, look at me in that context. I'm wearing a floral patterned sweater that wouldn't have been probably accepted like, you know, in the 50s. Hey, dweeb, hey, Northlander, and like punch me in the face and dunk my head in the toilet and say, you know, golly gee, Jimmy, right? So I don't know. It's hard to say, but anyways, getting back on topic because my friend isn't gonna really like, yeah, my rant on feminism. Anyways, yeah, why do people create ideologies? Now, some do it as a solution, some do it for fun, some do it kind of just as like a I did it for a shrug. I said, why the hell not? I have these ideas and I'm sick of having to describe them so like cumbersomely in conversation. So basically what I do now, and it's like my solution to things, unless suddenly I realize I disagree with myself a year ago, people ask me questions. I'm going, well, it's like this, but fuck it. Can you just read my fucking essay? Here you go. Take my free times and read just this part because it'll describe what we're talking about right now and what I think about it. That's why I wrote it, because it's a lot more articulate when I write it than when I try to describe it again and again and again. So that's what I still do. That's why I wrote my ideology. My ideology is got plenty of admittance to its ignorance, and how it does not know everything, and how it's my subjective point of view. I'm not trying to make it into an objective point of view. It's not even a blueprint. Another thing, it's not a blueprint for a new world. It's an idea of how we can, you know, it's a recognition that some other people have better ideas for how to make a new world, and you know, if that's what people as a whole agree we should do, I agree we should do it. But like, I agree with sort of the blanket anarchist sense in which we just knock the world to bits, at least as is, not in a violent way, or only violent in response, like self-defense. And in certain ways, I think it might have to be violent, have to be militant, but it's hard to explain how that would work. Anyways, we have to end the world as is and let it end. I really hope there is a financial collapse and an economic meltdown. I really do hope that occurs. I think that would be very good for the human race. And then we build from there as a society working together. Not me taking my specific ideas and implementing them on a global scale. Not like Slavoj Zizek coming down with the communist ideas and implementing them on a global scale. It's got to be everybody else making the decision. I mean, I'll have a say in it as I am one of the people on the planet, but I don't really think we should have a spokesperson or a leader telling us how we should be reorganizing. I think it should be a mutual thing as to how we reorganize. And that's what I think. Thanks for watching.